Georgia Bulldogs, Kirby Smart, JT Daniels, and Jordan Davis today. Thanks for watching. Dean Legge from Dog Post. This is my 19th SEC Media Days, and today was pretty common. Georgia will probably be picked as SEC East champions coming out of this thing, and that was one thing that Kirby Smart and company touched on, saying that really left a bitter taste in their mouth, not winning the East and not having the ability to play for the SEC championships. First time since 2016. That was not the case. Everybody's still getting used to everything around here. This is the first time we saw JT Daniels in person in our entire time that he's been at Georgia. A lot of pressure on JT for sure to be the guy. Heisman hopeful, I guess is one way to put it, but really for Georgia more than anything, they want to get back to Atlanta and beyond. And the question is that going to happen this season? And if that doesn't happen, there's going to be a lot of questions that are asked, and probably understandably so. But this game against Clemson coming up is another one that folks are really I would say Clemson was asked about today more than almost anything that I can recall lately with Georgia at Media Days. The Notre Dame game in 2019 got a lot of attention for sure, but this game opening up against Clemson and Charlotte, it's a big game, and I think the guys who are here today, Jordan Davis, who is from Charlotte, and JT Daniels, obviously from California, appropriately answered the question. They just said, hey, look, this is one game in our season. We'd rather win than lose, but it's not going to define our season. Kirby said the same thing. It depends on who you are, how you come out of that thing, what you're saying, and what you learn from it, what you don't. That's a big game for Georgia. I'm not sure it's as big a game for Clemson, but that's a big game for Georgia. Normally, I'm not like that about things, but I got to tell you, Georgia's got something to prove, and that game matters. I don't know how much it matters, but it matters for sure. For the Dogs, you win that game, you slip up somewhere along the way, which has happened every single year for Kirby and them. It's not such a disastrous season. You lose that game, you can't sleep up. I don't see how they can slip up. So there's a lot riding on that game, but it's a 12-game schedule, and the biggest thing is, I think, getting back to Atlanta. If Georgia could just get back to Atlanta, which is where they should get at the end of this season, it will have been probably a successful year, but we're just going to have to see how that goes. Media Days is always, as Steve Spurrier would say, it's talking season. There's a lot of talk. No one's throwing a football or blocking. It's just not quite the same. There's a lot of discussion. I think one big thing coming out of today was that Kirby announced that Georgia's, as a team, over 85% in terms of their vaccination rate. So why does that matter? Why is that a big deal? It means that you're not going to forfeit games. And that's something that when I talked with SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey yesterday, that was something that he said is a possibility in the future. So that's something to watch out for. And right now, as it stands, that's not going to be something Georgia's going to be overly worried about. So they've taken one thing away. We've learned through reporting and through Shane Beamer that Florida and South Carolina are two of the schools that are not. I don't know about compliance. I don't know if that's the best word to put it. But, it would be shameful if you get to Georgia, Florida, and the Gators can't go because of COVID. That would be wrong. So that is out of the equation for the Dogs. But when you leave this thing, nothing's changed here, man. It's the same thing coming into this year that it was coming into this Media Days as it was 4 or 5 months ago. This is a season for Georgia that the expectations are higher than usual. Expectations at Georgia are not, it's not abnormal at all for them to be high, but there's a particular expectation, pressure, whatever you want to call it. This program has that right now, and understandably so. JT Daniels is one player, but he has been what a lot of people think has been missing in this program, which is a playmaking quarterback. He described himself today as a distributor of the football. And when I talk with people behind the scenes, that's when they say he's at his best. Like, you can't be worried about, throwing interceptions or getting the ball down the field, but you got to be just a quarterback. And that's something that Jake Fromm really excelled at, but he wasn't really deadly at times. And that's something that JT Daniels has really done a good job of. Georgia's defense, I had a person I trust quite a bit who's just commenting and looking at Jordan Davis saying he looks like he'd be really difficult to move out of the way. Yeah, I think that's the point. And Jordan was saying to everyone that it's okay with him if people are spotlighting him because other folks will be freed up, N'Kobe and the other linebackers for Georgia. So we're not there yet, y'all. We're not so far away from it either. There has been a lot of discussion this week about vaccinations, and this is the part of the country where that's not as high as the rest of the country, and you can tell there's a concerted effort from this league and many of the coaches to encourage people to do that. Kirby Smart earlier today was asking reporters that he's used to dealing with if everyone was vaccinated. And they're doing that just so people like me will say that, and it will just be in the consciousness. I don't think they want to lose this season to COVID again. And that's what it felt like last year. Last year was very different than any other year. And I got to tell you, I don't want that to happen again. It was a very lonely season. As the only person that went to every single game, it was a very lonely season, even though it was an entertaining one at times. So this is, COVID is still hovering. And, Georgia's lofty expectations are hovering too, but they won't get the benefit of the doubt like Clemson if they lose that game. They won't get the benefit of the doubt like Alabama will if they lose the championship game. Georgia's going to have to win both of those games. And that's not easy to do. This is a tough schedule for the Dawgs. We'll see if they can navigate it. It's me signing off from Birmingham. I hope for the last time. I've had enough of this facility. We've got to get the internet right, fellas.